I'm going to show you a concept that can increase your e-com conversion rate by up to 10 times and completely transform your business. It's applicable in every walk of life with proof of concept in both retail and e-commerce, and I'm going to show you how a brand leveraged the idea to achieve a $1 billion exit within just a few years. If you're fed up of constantly being on the hamster wheel, adding new products, trying to implement new ranges into your business to increase sales and drive profitability, I'm going to break down why that may not be the best way forward, why you're probably selling too many products and how it's damaging your brand. I'm also going to break down the psychology of buyer choice and how you can leverage similar tactics for your e-com store to increase revenues, improve cash flow, and make more money. Let's get into it. So, the concept is called choice paradox, and it effectively means that the more options a customer has, it can lead to increased anxiety, indecision, and dissatisfaction. Basically, it says that you might think more choice is desirable, however, it can actually become overwhelming and hinder decision making. Think about it, right? There's 3 core examples. Have you ever been on Netflix trying to find a movie to watch and you're just like, you get there and I've got no idea. You end up scrolling through 20, 30 minutes and you end up just logging off, watching a different series instead. You know, been at a restaurant, there's a whole list, a huge menu, you don't know what to order, you're not really sure, and you end up taking ages and it's just frustrating. And partly this is the reason for the dissatisfaction. Because you have so much choice, you start thinking about, well, have I made the wrong choice? Have I made a mistake? Have you ever been out for dinner where you're out for dinner with a friend, you make a choice, they make a choice, you're not really sure which one you should have gone for, your food comes, their food comes, and you're like, I've made the wrong choice. Because you're so consumed with what you could have had, you're not satisfied with what you've currently got, and that's why more choice can lead to dissatisfaction. Or choosing between multiple products. And the crazy thing is, there's actually a study done exactly on this. So, there are 2 supermarkets here, Supermarket A and Supermarket B. They both sell jam. Supermarket A sold 6 jams. Supermarket B sold 24 jams. Which one do you think sold more jams? Well, based on our rationale of the choice paradox, Supermarket A would have sold more, but let's just show you the actual conversion rates of each. So Supermarket B, where they sold more jams, they had 3% conversion rates. So of 100 people going to the store, only 3 people bought the jam. Whereas in Supermarket A, where there is less choice, 30% of people bought jam. That is a 10x increase in conversion rates by selling only a quarter of what Supermarket B was selling. Less choice, higher conversion rates. Now I'm going to show you a real e-commerce example relating to the choice paradox. Dr. Scholl, they sell fit-related products, inner soles, trainers, etc. So they were testing a marketing strategy. Well, they were testing an email marketing strategy where they blasted out an email to their customers and they promoted 3 products versus 5 products. Again, based on the choice paradox, you would think, okay, well, maybe 5 products, more options. Doesn't seem like too many options. Surely that converted better, right? Well, actually, the email with fewer products drove 59% more orders than promoting 5 products. They had a 58% increased conversion rates. So more people who saw the email with 3 products versus 5 actually bought something, and 38% higher revenue. So more people bought stuff, higher revenue, and they spent more money. Again, just showing proof of concept that less can actually be more. Now we have a real life modern day e-commerce example. Road Beauty, they sell beauty products online, mainly in the US and now overseas. Their product catalog within a few years is only 30 products. They only sell 30 core beauty products. And within a few years of launching, they exited for $1 billion. So Hailey Bieber owns Rhode Skin. They sold for $1 billion to e.l.f. Beauty. Granted, Hailey Bieber is a big celebrity, so that's definitely played a part to it. That's part of the wider strategy. However, she didn't need to sell hundreds of products to get that exit. There's 30 core products, and even when they sold, I'm pretty sure it was about half. I'm pretty sure it was around 15 to 20 products when they actually sold in around sort of May, June 2025. So yeah, $1 billion exit, selling maximum 30 products. So keeping that in mind, right, less products results in a higher perceived value. High perceived value meaning that customers perceive the brand in a more elevated fashion. They associate it with higher quality, better products, better value. So in the customer mindset, they're thinking, well, if that's all they do, i.e. they only sell a few products, they must be bloody good at it, right? But why? So what happens if you spend all of your time doing something, doing one thing, a few things, very hyper focused? You become the expert, right? But What happens when you become the expert? You start generating efficiencies, and those efficiencies can look like economies of scale, general cost savings, and you can test more on your niche. So economies of scale, as you sell more products, your actual cost basis for certain products get lower because you're able to generate volume discounts. You also get more efficient at the process of producing certain things. So your labor cost comes down. You also generate efficiencies in ads because you're so hyper focused on testing the specific things in your niche, whether that be the ads, the creative, so that eventually you figure out exactly what works, you get hyper efficient, and your overall cost comes down. And it's a similar framework that Amazon use for their flywheel and their business, albeit it's a slightly different model, that their selection here is a lot more extensive than what we're suggesting in this video. However, the core concept of becoming an expert and generating efficiencies contributes to the flywheel, and why it's something you should really bear in mind. So Amazon has a super low cost structure, which means that they can lower their prices. Lower prices means an improved customer experience. If they can improve the customer experience, they generate more traffic. If they can generate more traffic, they got more sellers to come on the platform. More sellers means more competition, lower cost structure, lower prices, and the flywheel continues, right? Similar thing with your brand. If you focus on a very few select products that do really well, you know they do well, you're able to generate volume discounts. If you're able to buy things for less, you can charge your end user less. If they're being charged less, they're probably going to come back again because they're getting good value for money. They then tell a friend. It's a referral network, and you build up that cycle. That flywheel continues. You can constantly reinvest into the things that actually work. Whereas if you spread all over the place, you don't truly know what works, and you're just throwing things at the wall, hoping something sticks. And you throw loads of money, you generate no efficiencies, and you're constantly on the hamster wheel trying to find something that works. So, generating efficiencies from a cost saving perspective, that's what this looks like. However, you can also generate efficiencies in the sense that, well, you find what products work best and you identify what customers want the most. By doing so, that is also in and of itself being efficient. You're giving the customers exactly what they want, and as a result, you are able to make top quality products and deliver an incredible service. Because you're not focusing so much on all other things, you can identify what you need to focus on, spend all your time curating it and making sure that customers get exactly what they want. Yeah, like I said, refine your catalog, you become an established brand. And that's exactly what I mean when I say that less products means higher perceived value, and higher perceived value means that your brand is elevated. It becomes a one of one. You no longer commoditize your products, meaning that it's easily replaceable and that another competitor can come in to your market and take your customers. You have loyal customers. If you wanted to, you can charge higher prices, or on the flip side, you could pass the discounts that you generate through your efficiencies onto your customer. And then also you increase the lifetime value of the customer because you're delivering an amazing product, an amazing service. It's top quality stuff. You have the perceived brand value, and your brand value just elevates as a result. So that's the concept of, selling less products, having high perceived value, and how you can do so to eventually achieve a monstrous exit if you wanted to. So now I've been through all of that. I've explained the concept of the choice paradox. I've told you exactly how brands have implemented it for their businesses and achieved crazy results for it. I've explained why they've done it, the fundamentals behind it, and now you might be asking, well, now what? How do I implement this for my business? So I'm now going to show you the 5-step SKU reduction process to increase conversion rates, increase cash flow, and increase profitability. Because as I mentioned at the beginning, chances are that your SKU catalog is probably bloated and you've probably got too much inventory or too much on your website clogged up that customers don't really want, don't really care about. And this is how we can refine it for your business. So step 1, you need to audit your products. So this means pulling the last 12 months worth of data and ranking each SKU by how much revenue it generates, the profit margin, i.e. the actual margin that you generate, whether it be 5%, 10%, whatever it is, and also the return rate. So how many times customers return things, because this drastically eats into our margins. And by doing so, we can identify the 80-20. So basically the top 20% of winners and the rest. But what we're also going to do here is identify what the top 20% are and what the bottom 20% are, because those are the areas that we want to focus on. So the top 20% are the winners, The bottom 20% are things that we could probably cut and should be looking to cut immediately. And how we rank that is largely dependent on the revenue that it generates, the profit margin that it has, and the return rates that are currently there. So once we've pulled the product list, audited it, and categorized it like so, we then want to cut the obvious losers. Now you might be asking what the obvious losers are, and it is generally products that generate less than 0.5% of total revenue. However, this is largely going to be dependent on how many SKUs that you have. You might have thousands of SKUs that all make up small increments, but what we will generally find is that 20% of your products make up 80% of your revenue, and that is where we need to focus. So any products that generate less than 0.5% of total revenue have greater than 15% return rates. High return rates just means that customers are probably dissatisfied. If they're dissatisfied, it's going to damage your brand reputation. In addition to that, if customers are returning your products, it means that you have to front the cost for shipping to your customer in the first place. And now they're not even going to keep it. And now you have to pay for that shipping for it to come back to you. You then have to unpack it. You have to quality check it. You have to put it back into stock. It's a whole logistical nightmare. It costs a lot of money. It's just not worth doing. So anything that's greater than 15% return rates, I mean, I'd probably even say anywhere from 10 to 15% is no good. Any SKUs that haven't sold within 90 days probably means that it's not in demand or there's something wrong with your listing potentially. We can look to clear those out, and nobody actually buys it. Everyone knows those weird variations. We have a silly color that you think's amazing and you want to add it for customer choice. It's actually damaging your brand and your business because you're having an option in there that nobody wants. More options that nobody wants means that customers don't know what they want to buy, and as a result, they don't check out, they don't convert, so conversion rates go down. Cut out those variations that nobody wants to buy. Waste of time. So once you've done all of that, the goal here is to basically cut 10% of your catalog, if not more, immediately, but 10% is a great start when you're just getting started. Then we have step 3, where you want to test and monitor. So we run a 30-day test. Once we've cut that initial 10%, we'll track those metrics. Step 3, you want to test and monitor. So you want to do a 30-day test where we track these metrics here, but whilst doing so, you want to look, if you've got the stomach for it, to try and cut another 10 to 15% of your SKUs by tracking these sort of metrics, right? So you want to track your conversion rates, which should ultimately increase. So let's track the conversion rates pre-cut and post-cut, as well as the average order value. Are people spending more? Has total revenue gone up? Has it remained stable? And have customer complaints or customer returns gone down? Because we've now cut out the high return products, or at least revise the listing, revise the product so as to reduce the return rate. If conversion rates improves, revenue holds steady, just keep on going. Because, you know, if we're able to maintain a stable revenue, increase conversion rates with having less products, then we're running a more lean and efficient business, right? Step 4, we want to double down on the winners. So with fewer products, it means we can promote the top performers, so the products that are doing really well. We can push those further, put more ad spend behind it. As I said, 20% of your stock is likely driving 80% of your revenue. So let's put some ad spend behind that, promote those more heavily, create better product pages for the best sellers, try and optimize it and test as much as you can to try and increase conversion rates for those best sellers. As I said before, spend more on the proven winners, and also on your website, just redirecting people to the best sellers. It may be pop-ups, it may be, you know, a header with a section of your best sellers, sending emails to people to the best sellers. Those are the best sellers for the reason people want to buy them. So if people come to your website, you want to be able to easily redirect traffic to those best sellers, right? If you're able to concentrate your resources and your ad spends and your finances and all of the products, you concentrate it in one area, you're going to have better results. So step 4, double down on the winners. And finally, step 5, we want to repeat this process monthly, quarterly, whatever suits you. But ultimately, within 3, 6, 9 months, whatever it is, you want to try and reduce your SKU catalog potentially by around 30%. And it sounds like a wild concept. You might think, well, I can't do that. It's impossible. These products sell. Why would I cut out products that sell? It sounds like a wild concept, but I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. So you should ultimately see conversion rates increase, less products, easier for customers to make a choice. You direct them to the best sellers. What works, you know it works. You've tried it, you've tested it. Revenue might stay flat temporarily as you start to take out some of those products at the bottom, which were generating a little bit of revenue, but that should be made up for with more people converting. So more people converting on the best sellers, and the poor sellers, they drop off, but longer term it starts to grow. Your inventory turnover rate improves, so you're able to cycle through the best sellers quicker. More people are coming to the website, you're redirecting them to the best sellers, they're buying the best sellers, less choice of the other redundant stock that nobody really wants. And because you're not sitting on that dead inventory anymore, you're able to reinvest that excess cash that was sitting in all of that inventory. So remember I mentioned that we want to cut inventory potentially by around 30-40%. By freeing up that inventory, selling it off, getting rid of it, you free up cash flow. You free up cash flow for your business that you can then reinvest and redirect into your business. You can spend more on creative, you can hire that person that you wanted to free up your time to spend more time on whatever you want as a business owner, and you can spend more money on the stock that actually sells. You can then make quicker business decisions because there's less products, less things clogging up your brain, less business decisions to make from like an inventory perspective, clearer mind, clearer business decisions, higher profit. But it is important to note that there is no exact science to this. So there is no one size fits all approach. It completely depends on your brand and your positioning. Still, generally speaking, and this applies for everyone in every walk of life, all businesses, 80% of your business revenue and your business profits will come from 20% there or thereabouts of your stock and your items and what you sell. So in some capacity, everybody and every single e-com owner can do this exercise. The extent that you take it to does really depend on your brand and your positioning and the industry that you're in. But this is a clear methodology that you can adopt for your business to increase conversion rates, increase cash flow, and increase profitability without having to sell more products. You can quite literally sell less products, have less headache, and make more money. So by now you should understand the choice paradox, how it impacts your e-com store, and how you can leverage it for your business today to start making more money, make easier decisions, and propel your business forward. If you have any questions, shoot them down in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe for more.